The economy is the issue number one for American voters now and will likely determine the outcome of the election. A brand new Mason-Dixon national poll has Governor Romney opening up a 3-point lead on the president. Among independents, Governor Romney's lead extends to 6 points. The latest evidence of a tightening race apparently has the Obama campaign team a little on edge. The campaign in full panic mode today on reports of a Republican Super PAC attack ad featuring the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, President Obama's former friend and, of course, advisor. The Obama camp's panic needless, however, as the Reverend Wright Obama ad campaign was never going to see the light of day. Even so, senior Obama advisor David Axelrod tweeted, quote, "Stunning. Will Mitt stand up as John McCain did or allow the purveyors of slime to operate on his behalf?" End quote. Laughably ironic and hypocritical, former Obama spokesman Bill Burton managed to just hold back tears while lamenting a, quote, hateful campaign being planned by GOP super PACs. What makes that passingly ironic, even hypocritical? Burton, of course, runs the president's super PAC, Priorities USA. Burton's reaction all the more remarkable considering the Obama campaign and its super PACs have been accused of publicly targeting and sliming Romney donors, in some instances going as far as involving their children. Governor Romney, for his part, has repudiated the proposed Jeremiah Wright campaign, virtue its own reward, even in politics. Team Romney and the Republican National Committee raising nearly as much money as President Obama and the Democratic National Committee in the month of April. The Obama administration now readying itself for the G8 and NATO meetings this weekend, facing the prospect of faltering economies and weakening markets. These leaders can't begin to bring their governments into line behind one consolidated, cooperative, coordinated strategy. Ed Henry, Fox News Chief White House correspondent, has our report.
As Greece's credit was downgraded yet another notch today, British Prime Minister David Cameron issued a dire warning.
The Eurozone is at a crossroads. It either has to make up or it is looking at a potential breakup.
White House officials vowed the European debt crisis will be at the top of the agenda when President Obama hosts the G8 summit tomorrow and Saturday at Camp David, though it's unclear what, if anything, they can resolve.
The nature of these conversations will be about a coherent and common goal in getting on a path towards a sustainable recovery.
The problem is the president suggested late last year his European allies were already starting to turn the corner.
Our European partners have laid a foundation on which to build, and it has all the elements needed for success.
6 months later, the Europeans are still bickering, with Cameron today unveiling a 3-point plan partially opposed by German Chancellor Angela Merkel, while Merkel's push for austerity is clashing with new French President Francois Hollande's focus on growth.
A balanced approach that includes not just austerity but growth and job creation is the right approach.
Yet that approach has gotten little traction here at home, with Speaker John Boehner at odds with the president over how to move forward on debt ceiling talks.
People are looking at me like I'm the guy carrying a sword around town and going to bludgeon someone. All I'm suggesting is it's time for us to talk about this.
The latest Fox News poll shows the president's challenge. When asked to compare today's economy to 4 years ago, 45% say worse, and only 28% say it's better, an 11-point increase from a year ago, though still rough. When asked the best thing the president has done to aid the economy, 43% say he's done nothing to help, while only 7% credit the stimulus, 1 percentage point lower than the auto bailout. The stimulus is something the president had control over, spent over $800 billion in taxpayer money, and yet is getting little political gain. That's why the European debt crisis is even more troublesome for him. His virtually no control, making it a huge wild card in this election. At the White House, Ed Henry, Fox News.
Ed Henry, Chief White House correspondent, turning now to the budget. It's been 1,114 days since the United States Senate last passed a budget. 5 competing budget plans were struck down by the Senate yesterday. Joining us now is Senator Jeff Sessions. He's the ranking member of the powerful Senate Budget Committee, a member of the Armed Services and Judiciary Committees as well. Senator, great to have you with us. That was something of a remarkable spectacle. 5 budgets all going down in flames, none seemingly, perhaps with the exception of Congressman Paul Ryan's budget, none of them seemingly very purposeful or even significant when talking about actually reducing year to year the spending of the federal government.
Well, I think, Lou, all the Republican budgets, including the House budget, do alter the debt course of America dramatically. The 3 that came from the Senate, the Toomey, Paul, and Lee plans even cut more than the Ryan plan and put us on a sound path in terms of debt. The president's budget was totally irresponsible, increased taxes and increased spending. So it was not responsible, and it was voted down 99-0. And the Democratic leadership in the Senate provided no plan, no budget that they would vote for. And it was a dramatic abdication of leadership responsibility by any accounts, it seems to me.
Well, I think we have to give you credit for being kind enough to introduce the president's budget. I'm sure that, I'm not sure that he sent you a thank you, but he should have. For putting forward the proposition.
It was a situation in which I felt, and the House also voted on it. Not a single member in the House voted for it, 414-0. But it demonstrated that this budget is not real. It's also odd that the president didn't even advocate for it, defend it, or push for it. And what it reveals is, I have to tell you, you see this crisis in Europe, right. It's all about the debt they're in. We're on a path heading in an unsustainable way that we could find ourselves in just that situation, and we need leadership and a plan to get off this path, and we don't have it.
Yeah. Well, we have been at least clever enough to hang on to the Federal Reserve, which gives us the capacity to continue to print money and spread it all around, which the Greeks, I'm sure right now, are deeply envious of. You found that the United States spends more than Greece, Portugal, Spain, Italy. As you point out, we could be in very serious trouble. One of the first problems that we have, it seems to me, is we have markets that are erratic and volatile. We have an economy that is not producing jobs for working men and women and our middle class. And I'll be darned if I can find either party or the president or the presidential nominee of the Republican Party, Governor Romney. I'm not hearing specific, cogent, succinct statements about what it's going to take to get this country turned around, and I mean now. I'm not talking 5 years from now. The American people don't give a darn about hearing what's going to happen 20 years from now when it comes to jobs, maybe on debt and all these other issues. But doggone it, I mean, Senator, we've got to get serious here, don't we?
You are exactly right. I truly believe the American people have a right to be frustrated and angry with their leaders in Washington. How in the world did we get to a situation where nearly 40 cents of every dollar we spend is borrowed? This is a dangerous path. We need to get off of it. But let me say that the House budget would get us off that path. It really would if people knew what all was in it. The Republican budgets in the Senate were good budgets that would have dramatically changed the course we're on. But we don't have the votes to get it through the Senate, and that is the Democratic-controlled Senate. And Harry Reid said it's foolish to have a budget. So we're in a difficult situation. So we'll have to battle every day from now to Election Day to contain spending and keep this country on a sound path. And then we have to abide by the election results. I have a suspicion that the American people are going to demand this Congress bring this government under control. They have a right to be discouraged and disgusted with the way we're spending their money.
Well, Senator, we want the audience to know that you're one of those people leading that re-election effort, so it's going to be on you and your colleagues to make sure that you win back that Senate. We thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
And we'll have a great responsibility if the people give us the majority. That is true.
Senator Jeff Sessions, thanks so much.